Once upon a time in a quiet village, there lived an elderly man named Mr. Matthew. His only son, Andrew, had always been impatient with his father's old age. The constant creaking of the man's joints, his slow speech, and his need for assistance became too much for Andrew to handle. One chilly morning, when Mr. Matthew was struggling to even lift his teacup, Andrew, overwhelmed by frustration, lost his temper. "Why can't you just leave me alone?" Andrew shouted. "You're old. You're weak. I can't take care of you anymore. Leave my house." With those harsh words, Mr. Matthew was thrown out into the cold. Heartbroken and without a place to go, he wandered aimlessly through the streets. The village, once familiar to him, now seemed cold and unwelcoming. He had no family left, and the world felt indifferent to his suffering. Days turned into weeks. Mr. Matthew barely survived, barely finding enough to eat. His steps grew slower, his body frailier. But through it all, he never lost his kindness. One evening, when he was nearly too weak to continue walking, he stumbled upon a young man sitting on a park bench, his face gaunt with hunger. The young man looked up at him, his eyes empty, full of sorrow. His clothes were torn, and his face showed the marks of days without food or water. Mr. Matthew, though exhausted himself, felt a pang of sympathy for the boy. He reached into his bag, pulling out the last of his bread and water, and handed it to the young man. "Here, take this," Mr. Matthew said, his voice faint. "I'm too old to be of much use, but I can still share what little I have." The young man stared at him, taken aback. "Why are you helping me? You barely have enough for yourself." Mr. Matthew smiled softly. "Kindness, my boy, doesn't count the cost. It just gives." The young man's eyes welled up with tears, touched by the elderly man's selflessness. He accepted the food and ate it slowly, his strength slowly returning. "Thank you. You've given me more than food. You've given me hope," he said. The two sat together quietly, both finding comfort in each other's presence. As time passed, the young man stayed by Mr. Matthew's side, helping him as he grew weaker. Then one day, Andrew found them. His eyes filled with guilt when he saw his father's frailty, and the kindness of the young man who had stayed with him. "Father, I'm so sorry," Andrew whispered. "I shouldn't have thrown you out." Mr. Matthew, weak but filled with grace, placed a hand on his son's shoulder. "Son, kindness has a way of finding us when we least expect it. The world is never too cold if we have love to share." Andrew, finally understanding the true meaning of family, knelt beside his father, asking for forgiveness. And in that moment, the old man smiled, knowing that despite all his hardships, he had taught his son the most important lesson of all. That compassion is the heart of life.